Hey guys, this is Sanam and welcome back to my channel, Public Void Geek. And we were doing the weather app. Now we'll begin with the part 2. In part 1, we did the UI setup for the current weather, not for the forecast weather. And uh, we also added the motion effect, the parallax effect. And now we'll begin with the network call using Alamofire Swifty JSON, and we'll start downloading uh, the weather API or the weather data from the API. So this is where we were, and in the current weather data you can see that as I told you in my last video, we'll be using lat and long, so latitude and longitude. uh, so this is the API URL that we need, and in order to use the API you need the app ID or the API key. You just need to sign up or sign in, generate your app ID or app key, and you're good to go. All right, let's first try to you know use the lat and long provided here, which is 35 and long. So let's just copy this and paste it here, and also go here and copy the right. So we have the this sample app ID from their sample URL. Let's try to uh, hit this API. So it says invalid API because this is not the actual API. I'm gonna put my actual API here, which is gonna be this one. So this is the actual API. So you can see this latitude and this longitude gives me this particular data. Right, so we have a lot of data here. DT is the date actually, which is in Unix time format. So we can change that. We will be changing that. And the name of the city is Shuzenji. Not sure where that is. I think it's in Japan or something. Not sure though. Yes, so we're gonna try with this, and then later on we can add uh, the latitude and the longitude from our device. So I'm gonna copy this and head over to my project, and in extras let's create a new file and let's call it extras.swift to full screen. Alright, so let API underscore URL. So this is the API URL that we're going to use. Since it's HTTP, so we need to go to our info.plist and click on this plus sign and scroll up. You should have this app transport security settings. Then open it, allow arbitrary loads, and then hit yes. Command build. Now it will allow us to use the uh, network request over HTTP. By default it doesn't allow, you need to use HTTPS. So if you enable this option in your info.plist, then you are allowed to make the request over HTTP. Right, so we have our extras, we have our API URL. Let's also create a type alias for the completion handler. Type alias is gonna be called, let's say, download complete, and it's a simple completion handler. And then let's head over to model and let's create our class file for the current data. Right, so new file, Swift file is okay. Create current weather. So we have our current weather.swift file. Inside this, let's first create a class. Let's call it current weather, no need for superclass. Right, so we need to create few things. So let's go to our main.storyboard and we will know, or let's run this so that we have our UI in front of us. So we need city name, we need temperature, and we need temperature type, we need the actual temperature, and we need the date. These are the few things that we need uh, for our current weather to work, right? So let's create some private variables, so which are only accessible within this class, right? So let's do that. Private var underscore city name, it's gonna be of type string, and then private var underscore date, this one is also gonna be of type string. Private underscore weather type, this one is also gonna be of type string, and then private var underscore current temperature. Let's open our this one and let's check this out. So date, this is basically a double value, and for the temperature it should be inside. So you can see this is what we need to display here, right? So this is string, which is fine, and then inside main we have temp, which is a double value again, right? So don't worry, this is actually in kelvins, so we'll change it to Celsius, or if you use Fahrenheit in your area, in your country, then you can use your Fahrenheit logic to convert Kelvin to Fahrenheit, right? We'll be using Celsius. Right, so temp is in double, so let's put it in double itself. Double. Alright, so we have this private variable, and let's also create the setters. So city name of type string, and if so we are also going to make a check that if either of these variables, if they are empty while we are trying to display it to the UI, if we don't have those values, then we need to provide some default value, right? Because we have not given them any value here, so it's going to give us the error. So let's do that also. So if underscore city name is equal to nil, then underscore city name is equal to empty, and then return underscore city name, then bar. So all we are doing is basically creating the accessible variables, the actual variable, the variables which will be visible to the other classes, and these variables will be the one uh, which will display the actual data which is coming from these variables. So these variables are only accessible within this class, right? But this variable, this one, these will be accessible to other classes, right? Since this is just a tutorial, so I am just using the same name, but if when you are in production, you usually don't do this. You create something else so that it becomes difficult for hackers to get into your program. Okay, so is equal to 0.0, because it's a double value, we cannot make it an empty string like this. So then return underscore current temp. So right, it's like getter setters, but we don't need setters here. It's the getters, right? So we have this, and now we need to create a function to actually download the data. So func download uh, current weather. I think that's all we need, and we also need the completion handler that we created. so that we know when the data is available in our main view controller. Once we know that the data is downloaded, then we can update our UI, right? So this is gonna be completed, and at escaping and download complete. So this is the completion handler that we created. This is nothing but just sort of like a boolean, or like a method which tells us that, once the data is downloaded, we can execute a particular part of the code or particular code, right? I'll show it to you in the view controller.swift once we start uh, pulling down this data, and once we start updating our UI. Right, so as I said, we'll be using Alamofire and Swifty JSON for current weather. So let's do that also. Import Alamofire and import Swifty JSON and command build. Right, so build is done. Now, in order to use Alamofire, there is a particular request that we need to raise, or sort of like a line of code that we need to enter. So it's Alamofire dot request, the first one, which is URL convertible, and the URL is API underscore URL, right? And the response is JSON. So this is how actually it looks like, but I'm using a plugin. So this is a JSON response, right? It's in JSON. We can get it in XML as well. They have the option here. If we can go down, you can see they do have option somewhere which allows you to use XML, get the output in the XML. So they do give that option as well. Here you can see they have JSON format is by default, and XML or HTML format is also there. So we'll be using JSON. So dot response JSON and completion handler, something similar like this. We have also created of our own that we'll be using in the viewController.swift, the completion handler. So this is gonna be a response that they're gonna give us, and let's just try to print the response, right? And let's run it, but it won't work because we haven't yet called this. So let's also do that. So let's go to our viewController.swift. The network call did not work because we haven't yet called it. We just created the function and the blueprint of the class, but we haven't yet actually called the function. So let's call the function now. So var current weather, which is gonna be of type our class, which is current weather, and let's also initialize it. Current weather is, nope, small one please. Current weather, this one is equal to current weather, right? So now we have this, and we can call this we can call that function, which is current weather dot. So you can see we have this download current weather completion with completion handler. So we can not this one, but current weather dot this one with code. So we can say print data downloaded. So this particular part of code will only get executed once the download is complete, or once the JSON is completely downloaded locally to the device, right? So that's what the completion handler does. So once we know that we have the data available, then we can start updating the UI. Or else if you do it before actually download is completed, uh, then you'll find nil, and then your app is gonna crash. So let's try to run and see. Again, nothing will happen on the device, but if you see in the console log here, we can see our data is downloaded and data is available. This is the response that the response that we were downloading, I mean the one that we got, the one that we printed actually. So this is the response. But I'm wondering why the data downloaded did not get printed. Oh, the data downloaded was not printed because we did not tell when the download got completed. So right over here, if we say completed, so you can see data downloaded completed, right? So this is the completion handler, a check from our end that we will provide, that okay, after this code is executed, then the completed, and in the view controller.swift, that data downloaded will only be executed after the actual download is completed here, right? So this is the response that we got. So we have this data available. Now we need to parse this data, or map this data to our variables, and we're going to use Swifty JSON for this purpose. Uh, why Swifty JSON? You will see it now, and the difference between using Swifty JSON and not using Swifty JSON, we will see it when we will do the forecast weather, because over there we will not use Swifty JSON. We are going to use the Alamofire only, right? So all right, let's begin. So I'm gonna put this in comment section, and then let's pull out the result. So result is equal to response dot result. So when we do response dot result, it just tells us whether it's a success or failure. So if you go here, you can see it says success. So success or failure, it's gonna be here. And uh, and then we're gonna use the Swifty JSON now. So we need to create a JSON object. You see this JSON, this particular JSON is from Swifty JSON. So this is the one which helps us in parsing JSON JSON objects, or the endpoints or the nodes, right? So it's gonna be result dot value, the actual value of the result. So if we just print, let me just show it to you so that you don't get confused. So print result dot uh, right. So let me just print the result to you first. So simple response gives us uh, the boolean, whether it's pass or fail, along with the actual data. It gives us the complete information. If we just put result, then it just tells us the success or failure, and then result dot value will give us the actual JSON without the success or failure boolean over there. So there you can see, now we have all the data as an optional value, right? So now see the magic of Swifty JSON. So we just say self dot underscore city name is equal to, now let's go and find out the city name, which is right over here, which says name. So name is the key. JSON is actually key value pair, right? So this is the key, this is the value. Keys are usually in string, not usually, actually are in string, and values can be of type any, right? But if you use Alamofire or URL session of Apple, it's very clumsy to type save everything. Uh, but Swifty JSON just makes all of that work easy for us. It does everything under the hood. So uh, yeah, let's get started with that. So it will be called JSON, our object, and then inside this we're just gonna call this one the key itself, which is name. And since it's a string value, the value itself is string, you can see here. You can actually see here as well. So why am I going there? So we have this and this. So dot string value, right? So if I print self dot underscore city name now, let's do this and see what happens. See, we have the city name available, right? And like this, we can go ahead and parse everything from JSON. So next up is after city name, it is the date and weather. Let's pull out the weather type first. Let's just check it out. So we have date. Okay, let's do the date also. So self, not self. Let's say let temp date. Why I'm using temp date right now is because the date is in Unix format and we need to convert it. So we'll do that later on. So JSON and then it's called tt dot double, right? And let's try to print this as well, just to make sure that we are downloading everything and we don't see any error later on. So it's better to keep running and checking things out while you are developing it. So yes, we have the date as well. It's the same date. Yeah, so we have the date available now, and let's go to the next one, which is the weather type. And let's go and check out the weather type. Where is it? Well, it's inside the weather, which is actually an array. So weather has an array, and the first array or the 0th element of the array is again a dictionary. So see how easy it is in Swifty JSON. So let's say let uh, not let actually, we can directly use self dot underscore weather type is equal to JSON, and it's gonna be weather, right? Let's copy this and put it here. So weather, and then it's the 0th element of the array. So this is an array and it's the 0th array, and then inside this we need to go to main. So we can say main and then dot string value, and let's try to print this. You see one line of code and it handles everything. So the next one is the current temp. So we can do like this: let downloaded temperature or temperature. Temp will be, so it's okay. Let's do it downloaded temp, which is the downloaded temperature, which is in kelvins. So we need to convert that as well. So JSON, and then temperature comes from main and then temp. So we go to main, and then inside main it's temp, just to make sure it has no array. So yeah, there's a dictionary inside a dictionary, so that's fine. And this is gonna be dot double, and we can print this as well to make sure that we have the actual data. All right, let's see. So we have this data now, which is the temperature in kelvins. So we will fix this stuff. So I'm in extras, I'm gonna sorry, in extensions I'm gonna create a new file called extensions, and I'm gonna put a couple of my extensions. I have copied it here. It will be there in the source code, so you can copy it as well. These are a couple of common extensions. One is the converting double to int, I believe, or no, sorry, it's for the uh, rounding of the double, and then another one is the date formatter. So I'm going to use these two extensions. So these are the two extensions that I'm going to use. One is the double, it rounds off double to a particular point that you want. So let's say 3 decimal points or 4 decimal points or 1 decimal point. So it does that. And then the other one is the date formatter. So it's help us to get the string value uh, from the date. All right, let's convert the uh, temperature first. Let's uh, do the conversion from Kelvin to Celsius. So if I just go here and search Kelvin to Celsius, negative 273.15. So this is what we need. So let's do self dot underscore current temp is equal to downloaded temp minus minus the value was 273.15, I believe. And let's check this out. It's an optional, so we are printing this. We need to print self dot underscore current temp. Alright, so as you can see, we have 6.306 something 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 as the temperature. So let's just downloaded temp was. Do you remember downloaded temp? No. I just want to make sure that we are getting the correct. We are getting the correct, or we are converting it to the correct Celsius temperature. So let's get this one. Let's put it here. Uh, so 6.306, which is 6.306. So perfect. So uh, our conversion is working. So we have the current temp now. So we have the temperature in Celsius, and what we need to do is we need the date, which we need to convert. So convert and then put it in our uh, date variable. So let's do that. So as you can see, the from the API, what we have is the Unix format, right? So we need to convert it. Apple gives us the gives us a function which we can use to convert it. So let's say let Unix date is, or converted actually, converted date is equal to, and it's called date and date and not data, date. This is the one since 1970. So this is the function that we need, and we need to pass in our downloaded date, which is the temp date. And if we print this converted date, and let's see, and this should be like this. And now let's see. So you can see we have current date, which is 11th of Feb 2018. Is it 11th already? Yeah, it's 11th, sorry. It's 11th of Feb 2018, and time is 2:01. Why? Oh, this is because the API, as per the API, this is the time when they updated, or probably in that city. That's the time right now. Not sure though. But anyways, we need this particular thing, not this one right now. We don't care about the time right now. So this is what we need, and let's do let date formatter is equal to date. So we need to format our date in a I mean, if you want, you can show like this as well. This should be. So if you want, you can show this over here, no problem, as long as you or your customers or your client or your boss is happy. Like you can show it, no worries. But we're gonna show it in a more readable format, or my designer is gonna kill me. So yeah, so it's called date formatter. And with date formatter dot date format, no, it's called date style is equal to dot medium is okay, and then date formatter dot time style is equal to none dot none dot none. Right, so we are telling it we don't need any time styling, and the date style is gonna be medium. This medium long, you can go and check out Apple's documentation. They tell you everything, uh, like what each medium, high, long, full will do, right? So we're not gonna go into that for now. This is what we're gonna do now. So let uh, current date is equal to, and then date formatter dot. We added the. I mean, they have the option. Yeah, this one, and then it requires the actual date, which is gonna be the converted date. Now let's try to print current date, and now let's see. So you can see this is what we wanted, and we have it. And but we cannot print it yet. I mean, we cannot give it to this date because, or actually we can. Anyways, we'll just do it in the next command, I mean, the next line of code. So which is gonna be self dot underscore current date is equal to, and it's a string, so we can do string interpolation and put our current date. So we have our date, we have the temperature uh, in Celsius, and we also have city temp. So let's try to update the UI, and let's see. All right, so here or let's create a function here to update the UI. Reason being that right now I just want to show you that it's gonna work and it will show it here, but later on we will be removing it uh, from here, and we're gonna put it in the authorization where we take the user's permission to uh, use the location. So once user authorizes the location, uh, authorizes the use of location or the navigation, I mean the GPS, then we are going to download and then we are going to update, right? So let's put it in a function so that we can reuse it later on. So let's call it func update UI, right? Func update UI, yeah, that's fine. So what we need to update is city name, oops, city name dot text is equal to what? Is equal to current weather dot city name, and then city current city temperature dot text is equal to current weather dot current temp, which is not gonna work because of this. Now it should work. And then we also have temperature is done. Oh, weather type, dot text is equal to current weather dot uh, weather type, and then city is done, temp is done, date. So what is the date? Current date is called current date. So current date current city temp, city name, and current date, right? So current date dot text is equal to current weather dot date, and let's try to call this here, which is update UI. So after the data is downloaded, we will update our UI. So let's see. Right now we are not using any location, so wow, that was good. I think there is one small problem, that we should not have put this here but rather here after the data is downloaded. It should be marked as complete. So once this is done, then this one will be done. Oh wow. So we have Shuzenji, clear, and date as well, and the temperature is actually 6.30600000. So we need to fix that. Let's do that now. So I created that extension over here, which is which converts, or which actually rounds off the double, right? So we're going to use that for now. So let's put this in the bracket and dot uh, rounded to 0, and let's see now. So 0 places of decimal, so that means it should have only one. Yep. So we have 6.0 degrees. This 0.0 also we can fix it. All we need to do is we need to go back to view controller.swift. It should be here. This is the temperature. So int this one. Don't worry guys, nobody is perfect. So here we go. We removed the decimal as well and converted our Unix date into a normal date and Kelvin to Celsius. So we have this data. Next up is we need to do the location. We need to start using device location, right? And that is gonna be in the part 3 of the video. So I'm gonna sign off now, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.